Happening again. CCP Style Lockdown in Jinzhou, Dalian, China. CCP virus, tweets Jennifer Zhang. In a video, you see what appears to be 4 men, 3 up against a door, and they're reportedly welding the door shut. It looks like they're actually doing that, but to be fair, I don't know exactly where this video is from. I don't know what these men are doing, but we have already seen the videos of authorities in China dragging people from their homes, propping up gigantic steel bars to block the doors. They put up against a door and a wall so you can't open the door. And there have been numerous reports about people being welded into their homes throughout the past year. We're seeing it again. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, well, that's China. They're authoritarian. And many people have pointed out the reason China had big marathons with people all shoulder to shoulder and why they had big raves on New Year's Eve is because they're authoritarian and they can lock you in your home until you die. And then everyone else gets to go and party. They claim that it's only China that's like this. Certainly, the West is more about freedom. And even Fauci, Dr. Fauci himself said, America has got we got that independent spirit, but it's time to do what you're told, he said. It's time to do what you're told. It's coming. I did a segment on this assembly bill. I mentioned it in one of my segments, but I decided based on how much traction it's getting and the concerns people have, that it needs a longer segment unto itself so I can explain to you. It's not martial law. Martial law means military law. It's when the military comes in and takes over. But colloquially, people use martial law to reference a totalitarian lockdown. That's the fair assessment of what people are saying when they say martial law. We're currently in a totalitarian lockdown. And how do you know? When your constitutional rights are being trampled over and violated in the name of some public emergency. There will always be an emergency. We have to balance individual freedoms with what that emergency is. During the Civil War, we had our freedoms curtailed. Abraham Lincoln was very serious about stomping all over constitutional rights. People look back, though, and they say that he did basically a good job. He's one of the greatest presidents in American history by most people's standard or opinion. During World War I and World War II, we had conscription. We had people who had to go fight in the war for a variety of reasons. World War II, people look back and say, it was really important that the U.S. came in and shut down Nazi Germany. When there are real emergencies, there are real reasons why we have to step up to the plate. Right now, we do have a real emergency. I mean, COVID is killing people. I know most of the deaths are over a certain age group and they have comorbidities, but nonetheless, people are dying. But the question is, does the cure fit the emergency? Are the actions taken by, say, New York and California, is it appropriate for the current state of emergency? And the answer is overwhelmingly no. We are putting people at extreme risk, destroying their lives, destroying their businesses, destroying their families, taking away their ability to eat. And even the left agrees that it's not sustainable unless we get some kind of support. But what the left doesn't understand is that if people don't make stuff, you can't buy stuff. I don't know where they think where they're gonna get their food. Mitch McConnell can finally agree on $2,000. What are you gonna do? Eat the stimulus check? Sorry. If there's no one working, there is no food. Right now, there is food. A lot of the stuff that's not being produced are services and, higher end luxury gear and stuff. And there are a lot of restaurants that have been shut down, but general food production is being maintained. Not nearly at the levels it once was. Now, there's a positive, I guess, to this in that, we as humans, we waste a lot of our time and energy on useless things. The problem is, however, that people aren't getting access to food. They can't pay their rent, and it's causing a massive collapse. But I digress. The real issue, in my opinion, is that authoritarianism is here. It's going to get worse. And under Joe Biden, I would be willing to make a strong bet it is going to be worse than you've ever seen, which is why I showed you the video of people welding doors shut. I'd like to introduce you, for those that don't know, to Assembly Bill A416. Relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to public health. I'll give you the short version for those that are just tuning in and just want to get a quick answer. It means if the governor or some state level administrator believes that you might be, at some point, a danger to public health, they can remove and detain you until a doctor deems you to not be dangerous. Any communicable disease, any, may be a danger. Not is, not are, may be. And it refers to groups of people. They can remove you for no statutorily legal reason in total violation of the Constitution. So here's I guess a worst case scenario. You're at your home. You've ordered something off of Amazon. The box comes. You walk outside. There it is on your porch. Contactless delivery. You pick it up. You break it open, and there it is. It's your zucchini noodler. You ever see one of those things, put the zucchini on it, and then you crank the wheel, and it turns into like zucchini noodles? I love those things. But then you get a knock on the door. Turns out the Amazon driver is feeling a bit sick, has a fever, in fact, and you came into contact with a physical object for which this person was carrying only moments earlier. Why, you may be a danger to public health if it turns out you get COVID. Sir, you're going to have to come with us and step inside the vehicle. We're going to bring you to a facility to make sure, keep you under observation, to make sure that you aren't, in fact, a danger to anyone. And until a doctor determines that you are no longer a danger, then you will be detained. Now, I understand that you might not be sick now, but there is a 2-week coronavirus incubation period. So please, sir, step in the vehicle. Where this is all for your safety and the safety of others. Then you arrive at your new medical facility. And the doctor says, look, we're here for you. Don't worry. We're going to keep you here for observation and everything will be okay. But 2 weeks go by. And the doctor says, you know, we had an outbreak in this ward and you may still be infected. We're going to need to run some tests and keep you here a bit longer. Because until we determine that it's safe for you to leave, we can't allow it. And many of you may not realize this, but hospitals, medical facilities, actually a prime location for catching infections. But let me show you Assembly Bill A416. And then I want to show you the stories that are happening here in the U.S. I want to show you what's happening in the U.K. and in Canada. And I want you to realize I'll give you the Pirates of the Caribbean line. You best start believing in authoritarian dystopian stories. You're in one. Here's Assembly Bill A416. Now, look, this is in the New York Senate, introduced in committee, but it's not gone anywhere and it may be thrown out, okay? But let me read this for you. They say, an act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. Potentially dangerous. The people of the state of New York, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. They say, removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. 1. The provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable disease. What if there's an epidemic of the common cold, huh? Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease, that in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality, the government or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local health departments, may order the removal and or detention of such a person or a group of such persons by issuing a single order, identifying such persons either by name or by reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. Such person or group of persons shall be detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by the governor or his or her delegee and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. A person or group removed or detained by this order or by his or her delegee pursuant to subdivision 2 of the section shall be detained for such a period and in such a manner as the department may direct in accordance with this section. They say a confirmed case or carrier who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of the section shall not continue to be detained after the department determines that such person is no longer contagious. No longer contagious. What does that mean? Well, let me go back to explain something for you. They say a suspected case, contact, or carrier. A suspected contact. What does it mean? It means they can say you're not sick, you have normal temperature, We did a test and found that you do not test positive for COVID, but you may have come into contact with someone we suspect. Step in the vehicle, sir. This is for your own good. Did you think there would be no excuse? I say it quite a bit, but did you think that they would just decide to take over when authoritarianism came? And my question is for the left. They say, but these states, Tim, are just trying to slow the spread. That's what they said. When I said your constitutional rights are being trampled on. We are a country founded upon a constitution. It doesn't matter if you like or don't like it. That is the supreme law of the land. You don't just get to ignore it. But we're here. There are reports coming out now that the inaugural parade has been canceled. It really does feel like the United States is already gone, doesn't it? I mean, Trump and 12 senators and 140 congressmen in the House are Trump is absolutely objecting to the results of the election. This large group is as well. But then you have fractured political bodies. You know, you've got some Republican establishment, some Democrat establishment just saying, bend your goddamn knees. Just do it. Shut your mouth. Do as you're told. Get in the vehicle. You may be contagious. We need to call this out before it becomes law. This right here is a psychotic piece of legislation. I am reading to you from nysenate.gov. It's insane. But here it is. Will the left come out and say we should not allow the government to arbitrarily remove someone? Let me read some more for you. They say a suspected case. This is section 4, subsection B. A suspected case or suspected carrier who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of the section shall not continue to be detained after the department determines, with the exercise of due diligence, that such person is not infected with or has not been exposed to such a disease, or if infected with or exposed to such a disease, no longer is or will become contagious. Now, of course, they're going to include in this certain things like, oh, if we find out you don't have the disease and you're not contagious, we'll let you go. But keep in mind what they said earlier. They can detain you if they suspect you of having contact with someone. And we also know that these PCR tests, wildly inaccurate. That's not even debated. That's a fact. You would need probably a blood test and antibody test. And if they're just doing PCR tests, then, oh, well, this one can't. You know, we did 10 tests. 9 were negative. 1 was positive. You better stick around. Let me show you something. In the UK, this is Ezra Levant. He says, police arresting man for hugging people. Earlier in the video, you can see this man going around giving hugs to a bunch of people. And as he tries to leave the park, the police stop him. They surround him and say, you are under arrest. And there it is. The man gets arrested. Why? Because he hugged people. Take a look at this story. Barbadians demand Love Island star Zara Holland and her boyfriend are thrown in jail for flouting COVID laws after they tried to flee the island when he tested positive. Okay, well, you're probably saying the dude tested positive and then he tried to flee. He probably should get locked up. I don't know about jail, but a medical facility, right? I want to throw you a line from V for Vendetta. If you're looking for the guilty party, the person who made the authoritarianism possible, you need only look in a mirror. Okay, I know probably most of you watching me are not the guilty party. You're probably the ones advocating for some reasonable restrictions to slow the spread to the best of our abilities and take care of people, protect the vulnerable, while also maintaining our individual rights to run our businesses. We can live our lives wearing masks and social distancing and protecting those who are in the affected groups, not just destroying everything. But I digress. The reason all this is happening is because regular people are authoritarian psychopaths, and the sooner you realize it, the better. In this video that's going viral, there's a woman in an elevator screaming at a delivery woman because she doesn't like the way she's wearing her mask. You can see the delivery woman is actually wearing a mask. And then this woman just snaps, yells, and slams the wall as hard as she can in the elevator before storming off. You can see her mask actually falls down right there. I said on Twitter, people are starting to break. This woman is likely mad about being locked down for a year and needs some way to vent her anger. There is even a video where a man says, we all have to wear masks, but she doesn't. Yeah. There's a viral video where there's a guy stalking a woman in a store, screaming at her, put your mask on. And she's saying, leave me alone. He says, is anyone else mad about this? That we all have to wear masks, but she doesn't? Is that what it's really about? That woman in the elevator needs something to be mad at, but she doesn't know why she's mad, so she lashes out at anyone she can. You can expect more of this coming soon. They're mad because their lives have been crushed. They're being treated like scum. You can't leave. You can't do anything. Put your mask on, sit down, and shut up. And they freak out, and they'll target anyone they can. It's kind of like when you get that schoolyard bully, right? And he's picking on the kid, and then the kid goes to his house, and it turns out the bully's dad is picking on him, so then he can't do anything about it, so he redirects his anger to other people and bullies. It's like that trope. People are being suppressed and oppressed by the government. It's not the virus that destroyed everything. The virus is still out of control, even though we locked down and wore masks. Perhaps we need a more surgical approach, and we need to change what we're doing, because what they've done now, I would say, is particularly interesting. Excuse me. You take a bunch of people, take them from their jobs, people who don't care about politics. You force them into their homes where they can't do anything. They can't go out. They're going to get angrier and angrier. They're going to look for something to be mad at. They're going to go online and they're going to start hearing stories and they're going to start seeing politics, things they didn't know about before. It's going to get many more people involved. Fox 11, LA Sheriff, Super Spreader Task Force detains 900 during New Year's Eve party busts. They say the LA County Sheriff's Department Super Spreader Task Force shut down at least 5 New Year's Eve parties across the county, resulting in at least 900 people being detained, 90 arrests and or citations, and the recovery of at least 6 guns. Fox's 11's cameras were at 3 of the parties, including Malibu, downtown LA, and Pomona. The Malibu party was held at a large upscale home on Moonrise Drive after it had been promoted on Instagram. LASD showed up outside the home in the middle of the party, warning the crowd on a loudspeaker. This is the LA County Sheriff's Department. This super spreader party is now over. Anybody who refuses to leave will be subject to arrest. Hundreds of people were ordered to leave the party immediately. Those who refused were cited. We have a First Amendment right in this country to peaceably assemble. It doesn't say for what reason, just that we can. These officers are acting in clear violation of the Constitution. And of course, they'll keep doing it. Of course, it'll only get worse. They go on to say, there were at least 2 arrests, and LASD says 2 guns were recovered. We are actively enforcing the super spreaders to protect against COVID, said Captain Holly Francisco. Once we confirmed there was a party there, we had our super spreader task force respond and detain the occupants. Fox 11 was also at another large warehouse party in downtown LA with hundreds of people, also broken up by LASD. As the crowd was kicked out and the citations were being issued, gunshots could be heard in the distance, along with fireworks. Fox 11 was also at a third party in Pomona. An LASD Sheriff's Response Team unit also showed up to break this party up. We're going ahead and writing citations to the people that knowingly placed others in jeopardy by having a large gathering, said Lieutenant John Satterfield. There was no social distancing. There were no masks. It was unsafe and irresponsible. Tell me, does the First Amendment say we may peaceably assemble so long as we're wearing masks? No, it says we may peaceably assemble. These are not police. These are not cops. These are oath breakers, boot-licking Gestapo. One party goer told Fox 11, we are tired of closing this S down. My people have lost businesses and all that S. And we really just wanted some fresh air, man. That's what's going on. We wanted some fresh air. They came out with the tanks and all, man. S is crazy. LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva has pledged to focus his health order enforcement priority on super spreader events rather than businesses. Super spreader events. December 4th, it was reported, Maryland COVID-19 squad investigates quarantine breakers. And yes, they can arrest you. We're in a crisis. COVID is bad. Is it airborne Ebola? No. Is it the worst virus we've ever faced? Actually, absolutely not. The survival rate's actually around 99.99% for most people. People over the age of 70 with comorbidities have a slightly higher chance, mortality rate. But even then, it's still around 97% survival. So why does this justify the suspension of the Constitution? I don't know. Now, the left will tell you the government is the good guys. Why? Well, they're bootlickers. I'll tell you this. The left might say, why were you supporting the police during the Antifa riots? Well, because Antifa was smashing up local businesses and throwing explosives at people. Right now, I'm critical of the police for being the ones oppressing regular people, enacting their constitutional rights. These people are not throwing explosives or smashing windows. Let me ask you this, leftists. Why do you now support the police? Please, by all means, come out and tell me you don't, and then I will say thank you. I do not support these people, these cops, absolutely not. And at this point, in LA, in New York, where they're enforcing unconstitutional edict, by all means, defund them. So I'll tell you, you know what? I'll give you this one to the left. Maybe you were right in the long run about defunding them to a certain degree. Not for the reasons you were pushing. I think those were extreme. But right now, we are learning just who actually supports the Constitution and who the real criminals are. These officers who are locking people up are actually in violation of the law. There is no authority by which the governor can just declare and make decree, and then people can go and just kidnap you. Oh, and I'll say it, kidnap. I know it's usually like an ANCAP or a libertarian or a leftist talking point. But if there is no statutory authority by which they are stopping and taking you, they're kidnapping you. I said it before. For a civilized society to function, and actually this is a quote, paraphrasing coming from Brett Weinstein, a very smart fellow. He said, police need to be able to make arrests. He's right. That means if you know you didn't do something wrong and the cop is arresting you, you go through the process. We are not an anarchic state. We are not a libertarian paradise. We're a constitutional republic, liberal democracy. Those are ways to define a bit about what our country represents. That means you can be arrested. Even the founding fathers thought so. But you have certain rights as that process rolls through to protect you from the state and to make sure your rights are protected. Well, today, all that is out the window. The cops can just arrest you. New York is proposing a bill where they can just take you away if you're suspected of making contact. And do you think that your local police officer is going to say, I'm not going to arrest this person? Well, you'd be wrong. Of course they will. Now, maybe in some smaller jurisdictions, smaller towns, the sheriff won't because they know they're outnumbered by a large, angry, armed population. But in places like California, and New York, and Illinois, and Massachusetts, and Ohio, and Michigan, well, maybe not so much Ohio, actually. That was a bad one. Ohio seems to be kind of okay. We'll see. But in certain places, they'll just come and lock you up. We saw something interesting the other day, a viral thread from Ford Fisher of Trump supporters and conservatives stomping on the thin blue line flag and throwing it in the street. These are crazy days, crazy times. Conservatives saying F the police, stomping on the thin blue line flag, Bitcoin skyrocketing. I think, I'm just going to say it, these are signs and indications that this country is breaking down. Now, these grifter leftists, all they do is they take quotes out of context because they can't actually engage with the arguments. You know they're the grifters because they could actually address the things I'm saying or just continue supporting the police and the state and those who would propose setting up designated locations by which to take people suspected of making contact with someone who may be a threat to public health. Will you support the government's right to just take people without cause? Oh, but it's to stop COVID. Okay, well, just tell me you support the establishment. It's that simple. We'll see who the real anti-fascists are when the government starts locking people up arbitrarily. Oh, they already are. Oh, what's that? Prominent YouTube personalities on the left are already supporting them. Welcome to being a bootlicker. That's what you guys were saying before, right? As Antifa was going around destroying small businesses, you were a bootlicker if you defended those small businesses and told them not to burn down police stations. We'll see how things go coming up the next few days, but let me just stress, Antifa still hates the cops. There's just grifters who pretend that this is all a good thing. Those are the people on Twitter who would defend these lockdowns. They're grifters. They claim to be anti-fascist, but they literally support the state curtailing people's rights without question. Yeah, okay. Oh, but it's not for the nation. It's for the world, so we're not fascists. So you're authoritarians. How about that? When you have conservatives and the left both saying the cops are bad, when Bitcoin is skyrocketing, let me tell you what's going on. The rich people are moving their money fast. They're buying property fast. Trust me. I'm looking at properties right now. They don't last a day. They are buying up and the rates are skyrocketing. You know why? In response to the lockdown, the U.S. government has printed something like they've increased the money supply by like 66%. You are not going to enjoy what comes next. The inflation is hitting things that rich people buy because they have the means to do it. So property values are going up in key locations. There's one area I've been looking for, I mentioned this, West Virginia properties, to set up a big open acreage. It's almost impossible. They're being bought up and sold left and right. I should say bought up like crazy. They hit the market for a day, gone. After all the rich people exchange all of their, they buy land, they buy gold, they buy Bitcoin. Look at what's skyrocketing, Bitcoin. They buy all that stuff. The inflation is going to hit basic goods and gasoline, and then things will get really bad. And that's when this anger erupts. And that's when these people start smashing windows and screaming. And that's when the police say, you are a danger to yourself and others, and you will be detained. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about the escalation. But a month ago, COVID squad was arresting people. In LA, 900 people. And now New York is proposing this bill? Nah, it looks like escalation. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. It's a different channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.